It's only appropriate that an M. Night Shyamalan-sized twist can be applied to his own movie. Coming out in 2002 to a mix of reviews, the alien invasion movie Signs has both terrified and angered fans the world over, combining horrifying glimpses of extraterrestrial intruders with an ending that has long frustrated the more picky critics amongst audiences. The film follows the Hess family, Graham, his son Morgan, his daughter Beau, and his brother Merrill, as they experience strange happenings around their farmyard home linked to an upcoming alien invasion. Graham has recently lost his wife in a car accident, and in turn, his Christian faith, retiring as a priest to instead become a farmer and raise his children in privacy with help from Merrill. Their privacy is soon turned against them, however, as the invading forces break into their home, after which their one weakness is discovered and exploited in order to survive. Whilst on the surface this might seem like your classic alien movie, maybe there's more to the space invaders than it seems. Maybe they aren't aliens at all. Maybe it wasn't a case of a new species setting down on our planet from above, but a punishment from below. Maybe the aliens in Signs are actually from hell itself, manifesting as demons harvesting souls rather than little green men with furtive probing devices. With that in mind, I'm Ash from That Film Theory, and this is how the aliens in Signs aren't what they seem. It makes sense when at the heart of the narrative, Signs is about a religious man struggling to come to terms with his faith, pushed to bitterness and regret through being unable to understand the wider motives of his God's plan. It's around admitting his belief has died that Graham starts experiencing an alien presence in his life, or rather, on the other end of the spectrum, demons become interested in his vulnerable, eternal soul. We can trace this religious influence over the scientific events of the movie from the very opening scene. Graham's daughter Beau's first words ask her father if he's in her dream too, blowing the movie wide open for events that function as interpretive rather than realistic. If we really are experiencing a dream world, whether explicitly stated or not, then every action and reaction becomes an exercise in reading between the lines, a subconscious reflection of Graham's own insecurities in his seemingly waking moments. We then hear his son Morgan state upon seeing the crop circle that starts it all, "I think God did it." We're instantly introduced to the duplicitous tone of the film, whether what we're seeing is a warning from the heavens or if rationality and science are the only truth out in the cold reaches of the unknown. Yes, it shoehorns in that we're dealing with a religious family, but it also is the best example of the famous God working in mysterious ways. Namely, dropping a strange symbol into the middle of their food supply that functions as the mark of the beast, drawing the hellish forces right to their doorstep. It's even shaped remotely like a pitchfork, in reference to the typical stylized weapon of old school demons. There's more than one reference to suffering in hell at the hands of these aliens also, with the barbecue of the early moments of the film bringing about connotations of burning and death, especially when the fork is used to kill their dog Houdini. Transformed from the placid family pet into a vicious, hungry beast, it can be argued that the dog becomes a hellhound, a minion of the devil, in the presence of demonic influences taking root in the farmyard home. Later in the film, we're also very directly led to look at the image of a typical spaceship burning down a farmhouse, almost identical to the Hess family home. It's the most obvious offering of a link between these so-called aliens, demons, and hell, coming from a book of information that Morgan informs us was written by scientists who had been persecuted for their beliefs. Sound familiar? Perhaps it rings some bells when we take a look at the Bible, a similar tome of collective authors who have been killed, shunned, or laughed at in their passionate dedication to Christianity. Taking a look at the aliens' appearance then, they are indeed pretty demonic in nature, with black eyes, sharpened claws and scaled skin, blending into their surroundings with a supernatural stealth. For aliens, it seems strange that they would opt to not take advantage of their technological superiority over humans that got them to our planet in the first place. But for demons, however, it makes perfect sense for them to simply use the tools of their body, built to torture and frighten humankind in equal measure. To reinforce this point, we never actually see the spaceships these creatures are supposed to have arrived in. Instead, we're only shown lights in the night sky, with a single bird flying into the cloaking mechanism representative of the ship being invisible in the daytime. These lights almost look like pairs of demonic eyes looking out of the darkness, fashioned in a way that brings up images of cartoon evil watching from the safety of night. Birds falling from the sky are also one of the signs of the apocalypse. The more you know. Of course, the most compelling piece of evidence that can be drawn from this theory is the demon's one weakness: water. Water belonging to a priest in a house that could have once been described as of God, rendering it the one and only exorcism favourite, holy water. Most importantly, however, it's water that has been drunk by the little daughter Beau, the representative angel among their forces that will defeat the hordes of evil. Initially, it seems rather random for Graham to start regaling his children with tales of their birth when they're moments away from death, but in the context of our religious interpretation, it's the precise point where everything becomes clear. Beau's birth was a miraculous affair in which a newborn baby impossibly smiled at her father, in which she was so beautiful she shocked the entirety of the ladies attending his wife Colleen, and which she is directly referred to as an angel by all those that witnessed her. Beau might be a little girl, but in being such, she's the unstoppable force of good within the Hess family, and the key to defeating Graham's demons in the process. It's Beau's water that offers reprieve from their attackers. What is seemingly a mild annoyance is actually a wider attack plan put in place by the quirky little girl, who even reveals as much from the easy-to-dismiss line of, "There's a monster outside my room, can I have a glass of water?" She's directly asking for the resources to fight against the demons plaguing the Hesses, the only one aware, whether subconsciously or not, of what it takes to defeat them. The simple act of Beau drinking the water transforms it from plain to blessed, taking on her angelic qualities with each glass drank from and left out. If that isn't enough, Beau's name itself is derived from an Old Norse nickname spelled B-U-A, meaning to live. These titular signs and guided actions are the very heart of the film, which is explored in Graham and his brother Meryl's discussion on whether every life is a simple coincidence or if a higher power is instrumental in our fate. Graham's loss of faith and the consequential reinvigoration from him, quite literally facing his demons, is Shyamalan's argument for the latter. Everything in the film is important and comes full circle, no matter how negative. Morgan's lifelong asthma saves him from poison, Colleen's death allows Graham to save his family, Beau's bad water habits result in a secret weapon, and Meryl's failed baseball career means he's there to beat down the otherworldly entity. Everything happens for a reason. Returning to the demonic representation of the aliens, Ray Reddy's encounter with one of the creatures is a poignant argument for their hellish nature. Obviously burdened with guilt from falling asleep at the wheel and killing Colleen Hess, Ray is literally put face to face with his inner demon. But instead of giving into it or getting rid of it, he simply locks it in his pantry and drives away. It's symbolic of his reluctance to face his fears and deal with the aftermath of his actions, just as he had Graham's number written down but never once called him in the months since Colleen's death. Upon seeing Graham at his house before he leaves, he speaks of the end of the world and states that people who kill reverends' wives aren't exactly ushered to the front of the line in heaven. The presence of these manifested demons haunting those who are suffering inspires his religious internal reflection, the very reason they've been sent to harvest souls in the first place. Just like the bird falling from the sky as mentioned earlier, this apocalyptic vision of the earth might not exactly be the end of days, but representative of the end of Graham's faith. When he finds it once more at the end, balance is restored. It's his story after all. On the radio at the end, we hear that a trinity of countries in the Middle East, the birthplace of Christianity, discovered a primitive way to defend against the attacking forces. Whether it's the prayer that Graham refused to utilise or the holy water that Beau discovered as most effective, the religious connotations are hard to ignore. The constant battle between science and God is not one that will be ended by this movie, but it is one that is given nuance by the interpretation of fate. We don't know if all our actions are leading to something greater or if demons, or aliens for that matter, are real. But Shyamalan's combination of all these things is at the very least something to consider. So there's how the aliens in Signs are actually demons. Got any other interesting theories we should be looking at? Let us know in the comments section below. I've been Ash and this has been That Film Theory. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to hear more from us. Thanks for watching.